Hi, my name's John Miller and I'm the Managing Director of Fine Financial Planners. I'm going to take you through a bit of a journey, explaining who we are, what we do and how we do things and how we might be able to help you grow your practice. Now, before we actually go any further, I'll take you through a bit of an agenda. First of all, as I mentioned before, I'll explain a little bit more about who we are. We've been around for a long time, but not everybody seems to know about us just yet. We'll take you through some information, including what a sales ready opportunity is and how we're vastly different to most other services that you may have seen, and frequently asked questions that the financial planners that we meet with nationally and internationally like to ask us that we can give you an answer to straight away. And if all that makes sense, then we'll take you through some information about what the next steps are so that we can better evaluate together whether or not we should be working together to help grow your practice. So, who is Fine Financial Planners? If you haven't already heard about us from your dealer group or some of the industry information that's out there, we're a 100% Australian owned private company with 3 directors, and we specialise exclusively in assisting financial planners, practices, and dealer groups grow. And we've been operating since 2014. Some of the things that are important to note is actually what we're not. And we're actually not an advertising agency. We don't ask you to get involved with things that are not going to give you a level of certainty in investments around radio or television or print or direct mail or SEO or build you a new website or anything like that. That's not what we are, and that's not what we do in helping you to grow your practice. We're actually not a financial planning business. We're not in competition with you. We're here to work with you in a collaboration and to grow that. And we don't offer financial advice to anybody. That's you. You've got the qualifications and the experience. That's not us. And I guess finally, we're not just willing to work with any financial planner around the country. We want to make sure that we're only working with those that we share the same values and ethics and the ideology in the way that we provide exceptional customer service. So we've got to make sure it's a good fit for you and for us. So what do we actually do? Now, we've actually broken that down into a very simple statement that we supply guaranteed appointments with sales-ready opportunities through a subscription basis for approved financial planners. Now, that's a 4-part thing, so let me break it down quickly. We've got a very clear guarantee, and we'll go into a lot more detail with you when we speak, but we guarantee that you're going to meet with a sales ready opportunity. You will have a guaranteed appointment. And within the parameters and the policies that we have, if that doesn't occur, it's very simple. It gets replaced because you're interested in meeting with people looking for help. And that really comes down to what is a sales ready opportunity. And I'll give you a full definition of that because you don't want to just meet with someone who may have just dropped through the cracks. The fact is you need to be speaking to sales ready opportunities. Now, we've got a subscription basis. It doesn't mean we've got a long-term contract or anything silly like that, but we have an ongoing subscription, and I'll explain that further in our frequently asked questions. And again, we only work with approved financial planners, so the process may take a little while, and it's very important that we both understand what we're looking for so that we can work together. And that's the way we like to do things, so that we can make sure that the relationship with the practices, the planners and the dealer groups that we do work with, it works together successfully for the long term. And we start off exactly on the right foot that we'd like to continue on. So I mentioned before I was going to talk to you about what a sales ready opportunity is. And again, we've got a very clear definition. A sales ready opportunity, as we categorize them, is a person who has shown intent to buy by contacting us looking for help from a qualified, approved financial planner. So this is one of the most important things, that these are people that have contacted us saying, please help us select the best possible planner who's got the qualifications, experience, and knowledge to be able to help us. We don't do things like telemarketing or anything like that. It's just not appropriate to be able to provide guaranteed appointments with sales-ready opportunities. Now, when our clients come on board, they come from a huge background and a great spread of socioeconomic diversity. And therefore, our subscribers, the financial plannings and practices and dealer groups, need to understand, well, what sort of clients am I going to get? Now, this is actually information that we've garnered since 2014, which gives you an idea of the average client that we get across the country here in Australia around income, superannuation age and investments. And we provide you with this in writing all the way through, by the way, but you can review this on the video. We then break it down into the top 6 needs that people have approached us with. And that way as well, you know the sort of spread of clients you're going to get. And that will give you a typical understanding of how you're going to be able to help people. So let's cover some of the frequently asked questions. And one of them is, well, who pays for this? The client doesn't pay. What we do is we offer them a free appointment with you, initial appointment, to see whether or not it's a good fit for you to better understanding how you can help them and to assist you with the sales process. And it's actually you, the planners, who actually invest in our services in those guaranteed appointments with sales-ready opportunities. The next question we very regularly get is, well, do some people get favoritism over others? Well, no. We've got a proprietary system we've developed, that we own, that carefully, independently matches the client's needs to the most appropriate, approved, available local financial planner. Now, we don't have any favorites, but we make sure that the software and the systems that we use do that selection process. And that way, it's not just allows us to be independent, but it makes sure that we are consistent and that it reduces the opportunity for error in making sure that the match isn't correct. And that's important for you, that's important for our clients, and that's important for us. I mentioned before that you're not locked into a long-term contract, but we do work on a month-by-month subscription basis until either party gives each other 30 days notice in writing. Now, our goal is to exceed your expectations and for you to exceed ours and our clients. But if something isn't working, we simply have a chat, and if we can't resolve it, either party gives each other 30 days notice in writing, we finish our supply to you, and we shake hands. It's very simple. We don't lock you into a contract for 2 reasons. It's not appropriate for you, and it's not really appropriate for us either. We want to make sure that we're always staying on the cutting edge of things and exceeding your expectations, and that you're exceeding ours, in particular with the way that you actually work with our clients that you have those meetings with. The appointments are set with, as I said before, our proprietary system, and it's a really clever matching system. And that way it works out well for really everybody. Next most important question that we get asked is, how many appointments can we buy? Well, those guaranteed appointments are very precious, as are the people that you'll meet with. So during the initial first 3 months, while we're actually testing each other, and there's a whole gamut of things that we do around making sure that we're in communication with you and with the client that we introduced to you before the meeting, after the meeting, etc., and giving you feedback as well. But during that first 3 months, we restrict that to no more or less than 5 per planner per month. And that's really important to make sure that we're giving you enough appointments so that you can determine over those first 3 months or beyond that it's worthwhile for you, but also for us to ensure that we're not making a mistake during the selection process, and that perhaps we shouldn't be working together. It's just a safeguard for you, for us, and for our clients. And as you can see there, we've got a guaranteed flat rate. That way you know exactly what your return on investment is, and you can make sure that you don't have a level of variability. One of the things that you should be preparing when you're looking at that is to have a look at what is your conversion rate, what is your average plan value, how long do you keep a client for, what sort of ongoing revenue are you going to achieve on average with each one of your clients, how many referrals you get on average per year from new clients, and all those numbers will work together to stack up to see whether or not our service offers you a strong return on investment. If it doesn't, you shouldn't go ahead. If it doesn't, we won't want to go ahead with you, because it means that you're not assisting enough people that we've been able to introduce to you with that guaranteed appointment. So we've actually got a 3-step process, and if all of this makes sense, we've actually covered this, the first step, in this video. The second step is for myself, or usually our national client care manager, who speaks to every planner across the country individually, and in fact works with many of them personally, to have an additional discussion. And we cover things like, stacking up the numbers. Do we offer a good return on investment? We ask you a bunch of other questions. We give you an idea of the whole gamut of things that we actually need from you to review your application to see whether or not you meet our standards. And we want to answer any questions that you have so that we don't have any misunderstanding. Now, after that step, we'll send you a whole heap of things, but that also includes a memorandum of understanding, so you have in writing exactly what we've discussed and promised and agreed upon. We actually give you a copy of the draft agreement so that you can go through our terms and conditions and make sure that you are very clear, that you understand exactly what we're doing. We don't want any misunderstanding. And then we've also now put together a financial planner's guide to find financial planners. Bit of a mouthful, but what it does, it covers a whole slew of policies and procedures and more frequently asked questions and other bits and pieces to help you better determine whether or not this is a strategy that you'd like to add to your portfolio to grow your practice. Then what we do is we go to step 3. And step 3 is when we've received all that information and you've got everything and everyone wants to go ahead, then we actually go through your application, discuss whether it's been approved or declined, and why. Sometimes we need to ask you additional questions if things pop up around audits or when we check ASIC and dealer groups and other bits and pieces. We then set up your start date to make your membership live so that it can all get started at a time that best suits you and your practice. Obviously, we send you a copy of the actual agreement to authorise, and that way everything's in writing and we're all covered. And we get little things like your direct debit set up, we get your training organised, we make sure that you have access to all the systems, we make sure that you've been given all the information that you need for your private web page, which is something that we put together for you to help introduce you to those clients. There's a whole host of things here that we've covered, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this entire video if you've got this far. I look forward to one of my team having a talk to you to see whether or not we can assist you and really helping you to grow your practice for the future. Thanks so much and have a fabulous day.